Most people think the 5 a.m. rule is a life hack. They think it's a clever trick to squeeze more work out of a day, to hustle harder, to get ahead of the competition. They are completely wrong. For me, 5 a.m. wasn't a strategy for success. It was a strategy for survival. I didn't wake up early to beat the world. I woke up early because the world was beating me, and I desperately needed a place to hide. This isn't a story about productivity. This is the story of how the silent hour saved my life. Meet Leo. 2 years ago, Leo was a ghost in his own life. He didn't truly live, he just reacted. His days belonged to the noise. They belonged to his boss, Mr. Henderson, a man whose endless demands felt like heavy stones piling onto Leo's chest. Every email was an emergency. Every deadline was a threat. By 10 o'clock in the morning, Leo's energy was already gone. Completely siphoned off by the demands of others, he was drowning in a sea of stress and he couldn't find the surface. But the worst part wasn't the office. The worst part was coming home. Maya, his 8-year-old daughter, the absolute center of his universe. Every evening, she would sit on the living room floor, drawing with her crayons, waiting for him. And every evening, when the front door opened, she would look up with big, hopeful eyes. He would stand in the doorway, exhausted. He would force a weak, fake smile that never quite reached his tired eyes. And he would walk right past her. He would slump onto the couch, staring blankly at the television, physically present, but emotionally thousands of miles away. He could see the disappointment in Maya's eyes. He saw her shoulders drop. The guilt was a constant heavy shadow. He was failing at his job, but far worse. He was failing the one person who mattered most. He was pulling the people he loved down into the dark with him. You can only run on an empty soul for so long before something shatters. For Leo, the breaking point came on a quiet Tuesday night. He stood in his dimly lit bathroom, staring into the mirror at a man he no longer respected. He saw the dark, heavy circles under his eyes. He saw the defeat. A single tear welled up, carrying the weight of 1,000 regrets. He couldn't live like this anymore. With a trembling hand, he reached out in the dark and set his old analog alarm clock for 5 a.m. He made a desperate decision. He would wake up before the noise started. The next morning, at exactly 5:03 a.m., Leo sat alone at his small kitchen table. A single mug of coffee steamed in front of him. Outside the window, the world was pitch black. That first morning was terrifying. The silence was so heavy, it felt suffocating. There were no emails to answer, no boss yelling, no traffic, no demands, just nothing. His brain was so addicted to the chaos of his daily life that it didn't know how to handle the peace. He almost panicked. He looked back toward his bedroom, tempted to crawl back under the covers just to escape the terrifying emptiness of his own mind. But then he stopped. He stood by the window, looking out at the dark city skyline, and he did something he hadn't done in years. He took a deep, slow breath. He watched the sky begin to shift very slowly from total black to a bruised deep purple. And in that absolute stillness, a tiny, fragile thought appeared in his mind. The world doesn't own me right now. He kept showing up, day after day. The 5 a.m. hour became his sanctuary. It wasn't about doing more work. It was about becoming a new man. While his boss slept, while the loud, demanding city slept, Leo rebuilt himself in the dark. He started reading again, sitting by the warm glow of a small lamp. He started journaling, pouring his anxieties onto paper so they no longer lived in his head. He started rebuilding his body, not to impress anyone, but to physically feel the strength returning to his own limbs. He would sit on the floor in absolute silence, eyes closed, learning to finally make peace with his own thoughts. He realized that true discipline isn't a punishment. It is the highest form of self-love. And slowly, the change didn't just stay in the dark. It followed him out into the daylight. When the noise of the office started, Leo was no longer empty. He had already filled his own cup before the world even had a chance to try and drain it. When Mr. Henderson yelled, Leo didn't shrink. He stood tall. He was calm. He looked his boss directly in the eye, completely unaffected by the anger. The chaos of the world simply bounced off him because he had cultivated an unbreakable peace in the quiet of the morning. But the real victory, the ultimate triumph, wasn't in the office. It was opening his apartment door in the evening and actually having energy. It was seeing Maya look up with cautious hope, and this time meeting her with genuine joy. It was getting down on the floor with her, laughing, coloring outside the lines, being the father she always deserved. He had reclaimed his soul in the dark morning hours, so he could finally give his heart to the people who mattered in the evening. The 5 a.m. rule isn't about setting a clock. It's about drawing a line in the sand. It's about standing tall and telling the world, you can have my obligations, you can have my stress, but this hour belongs to me. If you are listening to this and you feel lost in the noise, if you feel like you are disappearing under the heavy weight of everyone else's demands, I challenge you. Wake up before the world starts telling you who to be. Meet yourself in the silence. It will be uncomfortable at first. It will be lonely. But I promise you, the person waiting for you in that quiet hour is worth meeting. The sun is rising. It's your turn.